Consciously Creating Circumstances, written by George W. Plummer in 1937. Narrated by Richard Schaefer.
Chapter 6. Impressing Your Desire. We will assume that a desire has taken shape in your mind due to the absence of some thing in your life or environment that must be supplied to complete your happiness or welfare. That desire has been picturized by your imagination as a definite thought form. All this has taken place in your objective mind. Your next step is to impress this thought form upon your subjective subconscious mind, for there the real work begins. Talk to your subjective subconscious mind as though it were directly to an individual. Some people find it helpful to direct their speech toward the solar plexus, for the reason that the solar plexus, or center of your subjective subconscious mind, is the individual link with universal mind. To us, the most important thing in the outside universe is the sun, giver of life, center of our system. This is why the solar plexus is very aptly named. Some call the solar plexus the abdominal brain, for it represents the seat of activities that go on independently of the conscious brain. When you speak to your subjective subconscious mind, you may do so mentally, if you prefer, or if audible speech would be disconcerting to others. But if possible, do so audibly to assist in crystallizing your thought form. In the darkness of closed eyes, try to feel that which you cannot see, namely the subtle body of the universal mind flowing through your organism. Realize the truth of the scriptural statement that in Him we live and move and have our being, for it is a basic scientific fact. If it were not so, we could have no existence at all. If you do not bring yourself at first to this definite feeling, at least bring yourself to the state of mind in which you accept it as unseen, unfelt, but inconvertibly true. Then, with your eyes closed, bring the picture of your thought form to mind, and describing it clearly, speak to your subjective or subconscious mind, which you conceive of as in the solar plexus. Say something like this to your subjective or subconscious mind. It is my desire and my will that you do thus and so, using me as a focal center of attraction. It is a worthy request. I ask it unselfishly. I desire to be in perfect harmony with all constructive activity. I know you have the power to bring about what I order through your connection with the all-powerful universal mind. You are doing it now, and I thank you for hearing me. Never forget to give thanks. Even as the great Master said, I thank thee, Father, that thou hast heard me. What is worth having is worthy of thanks. Your subjective or subconscious mind, being a function of the universal subjective mind, then impresses the image with which you have charged it upon the potency of the whole body of the universal mind, with you as a focal center. By the law of attraction, the elements necessary to the externalization of your thought form in your life are built up. To put it simply, the thought form comes true, because this archetypal mental form must build a corresponding set of circumstances in the world of matter. We say that your subjective or subconscious mind impresses the image with which it is charged upon the whole body of the universal mind. Let us clarify this statement a bit. If you have a basin or container of strong acid, such as sulfuric, you know that any part of that acid is as potent as any other. If you dip in a splinter of wood at any place, it will be burnt by the strong acid. The splinter does not contact all the acid at once, but all the power of the acid in the container exists at any point of contact. If you dip another splinter into the acid at the same time at another point, the same result takes place. So it is with the universal mind. All the power of that universal mind is brought to focus at any point at which it may be contacted, and the results at one point will be equally present at any other point. The acid is just as strong at whatsoever points it may be contacted, even if many points contact it at the same time. This is equally true of the universal mind. When talking to your subjective or subconscious mind, remember one thing above all. Do not attempt to tell it its own business, which is the means of carrying out your order. It knows far more than you can possibly know. It manipulates forces that you cannot even dream of. Let it do its work in its own way. Make your order as simple, clear, and uninvolved as possible. The clearer and simpler your charge, the quicker you will attain your results. Just give the plain outlines of what you want to realize. Do not limit the subjective as to time. Do not stipulate how or through what channels your money, your friendship, your job, or whatnot is to come. Hold fast only to the image itself, and the details will be filled in later. The principal matter to keep in mind at this stage is the necessity of sublime faith. We are not teaching faith cures or anything of the sort. What you are learning is based absolutely upon knowledge and fact. But faith plays an important part in all human experience. If you asked a friend to do something for you and then began to question whether he would be able to do so, if you began to hope that he might, or fear that in some way he would not, how much do you think that friend would do for you if he knew just how you felt? Well, the universal knows far more about how you feel than any human being could possibly know, because you are a part of the universal, and you therefore communicate every state of mind within you to the universal mind, even though you do so unconsciously. Therefore, you must not doubt its ability, no matter how great a demand you make on it. Do you wonder whether you can really impress a picture of your desire or thought form upon the universal mind? Why not? Any teacher of psychology in a recognized institution will inform you very quickly that the ability to impress thoughts in one mind upon another mind has been demonstrated over and over again. In our present discussion, we are not dealing with the cumbersome faculties of human individuals, but with the all-potent medium of the universal mind itself, upon which all the thoughts of all individuals through all the ages have been impressed. The technique we have given is simple. The results will depend entirely upon the mental attitude and spiritual trust you can develop. Do not worry about the results. Let them take care of themselves. They will manifest according to your ability to contact the universal mind in an attitude of understanding and true faith. If you must have faith in your fellow man in order to draw from him the best that is in him, how much more should you have faith in the unseen power that is Father to us all? Let us see if we can make all this more practical by an example. This is, to my personal knowledge, was actually accomplished by what we have been talking about: consciously creating circumstances. A man wanted to sell a house. This was in the midst of our late lamented depression, perhaps not so late. Naturally, his chances of selling the house seemed slim by ordinary standards. Houses were not being bought. This man knew he was up against it. Yet, he had to sell the house. What did he do? First of all, he did what he could with his objective mind. He placed the house in the hands of 3 brokers. So much anyone would have done. But this person did a great deal more. he built up a complete picture of the house already sold. Notice not the details of selling it or the kind of people who would buy it, but a picture of the thing accomplished, of himself packing up, seeing the moving vans come in, load up and drive away, and then driving away in his own car and waving goodbye to the house for the last time. He thought of all this as an already a fact on the mental plane. He concentrated on that image, almost eating and sleeping with it. Beyond his original listing with the brokers, he did little with his objective mind about selling the house. But all the while, his subjective, or rather the universal subjective mind, was busy about its job, accepting his command and carrying it out. In that month, there were dozens of houses advertised for sale in his community. Only 2 were sold. One was my friend's, and his thought form came true down to the last detail, even to his waving goodbye to the house when he drove away. I think the point is clear. Many more examples could be given and will be suggested in further discussions. The great majority of people, through ignorance or lack of faith, use a child's tin hammer to drive home their desires when they could use a 10-ton pile driver. They put a toy electric motor behind their ambitions when they could harness up a giant turbine. In other words, they use only their confused, helter-skelter, feeble objective minds when they could tap the infinite resources of the universal subjective mind. Why should you remain among the unenlightened? The law is simple, positive, definite. Ask, and it shall be given unto you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. That means thousands have demonstrated its truth. You can too. You now know the meaning of that grand promise.